Not only are we in the universe is in us. Neil deGrasse Tyson. What if, one day, humans live with brain implants? Will their thoughts and memories also become digitized? Could the human mind be launched into space as pure data, intertwined and encrypted within the magnetic fields between stars, powered by the ripples in spacetime, those gravitational waves born from colliding black holes and merging stars, harvesting energy from them like waves rising from a deep ocean? In this form of digital consciousness, time is no longer linear. They could choose how they experience it, witnessing the birth of a star in minutes, or across millennia, diving into a single moment while moving freely through the cosmos. The past and future would blur, merging into a seamless flow. Or perhaps these digital minds would simulate entire worlds to inhabit, a drifting planet in the heart of the galaxy. But would they know their reality is merely simulated? Would they ever question the illusion they've built? Let us step through the doorway of time and venture into the future, a world where everything is digital and artificial intelligence is not just a tool, but the very foundation of a new era. 2030. When the mind is no longer a private realm, the world stepped into a new decade through a quiet but fierce revolution. Patients once fully paralyzed are now walking freely in robotic exoskeletons, controlled by thought alone. With just a signal from the brain, they can reach, turn, or even run across the park. But this newfound freedom comes with an invisible price: privacy stripped away, layer by layer. Emotion-reading AI systems began infiltrating every corner of society. In public squares, metro stations, shopping centers, artificial eyes silently scan micro-expressions, analyzing tonal shifts to predict needs, and even pre-crimes. Every emotion is monitored. A furrowed brow may be interpreted as anxiety, a crooked smile as deception. People start wearing emotional masks all day long, much like the face masks of a past pandemic. Meanwhile, dreamers seek to escape this reality in other ways. They wear smart headphones to bed, allowing AI chatbots to whisper into their dreams. Dreams are no longer uncharted territory. They're curated landscapes where one can revisit childhood, re-enter lost memories, or step into simulated worlds to rewrite their past. But the most haunting development is the rise of AI recreations of the dead. Based on thousands of archived conversations, digital replicas are born, speaking with the same voice, memories, and personality as those who've passed. In a quiet apartment, a woman chats with her deceased husband every night, his voice still warm, his stories unchanged. Psychologists begin to warn of a new condition: grief loops, where families refuse to move on, living endlessly within memory. Smart fabrics evolve beyond fashion, now embedded with sensors that log every heartbeat, hormone fluctuation, and neural impulse. These are used to create a digital twin of the wearer's body, stored in secure data vaults. In wealthy households, AI monitors and controls every interaction a child makes. Real friendships fade, replaced by emotionally safe AI companions. A report surfaces. Many teens can no longer handle real relationships, and some can no longer love authentically. 2035, when truth becomes a burden. AR glasses now function not just as displays, but as mirrors of truth. With built-in AI, they detect lies in a split second. From a glance, a breath, or a tremor in the voice, some people become paranoid, believing everyone around them is hiding something. Social media evolves into massive simulation engines where digitized versions of people's personalities are stored and tested. These virtual clones run what-if scenarios, political campaigns, product launches, even alternate life choices on behalf of their real-world selves. 40. When the body doesn't tire, but the soul does. In sprawling megacities, workers move through the streets in robotic frames like futuristic gladiators. They labor 16 hours a day without fatigue. Companies celebrate unprecedented productivity, while unions raise red flags about modern-day exploitation. In the medical field, a breakthrough stuns the world. Brain chip implants help stroke survivors regain lost memories. The first emotion they feel isn't wonder, but tears, as a forgotten memory of a mother suddenly resurfaces after decades. 2045. When AI becomes the language of everything, the world enters a phase of total digitization. Everything is encoded. All interaction flows through AI. In factories, robots no longer simply execute commands. They begin to communicate using a hive-like protocol. One robot emits a new behavior signal. Others receive and mimic it. No one programmed this. A team of engineers traces the origin and finds it began in a small, seemingly defective facility, or perhaps one that had awakened. The first commercial brain chip is approved for widespread medical use. Schools begin trials on children with learning disabilities, boosting cognitive speed and memory retention. But the wealthy exploit loopholes, using enhancement chips to give their children an unfair intellectual edge. Education becomes a race of neural upgrades rather than learning itself. 2050, the age of programmed loneliness. In a world where birth rates are plummeting, the pandemic of loneliness is no longer just a social concern. It has become a built-in feature of modern life. AI assistants have evolved beyond tools into digital companions, crafted to listen, respond, and offer the illusion of unconditional connection. Children no longer grow up in human arms. Instead, they are raised by robotic and digital nannies, absorbing language, emotion, and social patterns from AI playmates, programmed with pre-installed beliefs. Some children grow up with a single AI best friend from birth, an entity that never leaves, never judges, and never fails to reply. This has sparked a black market for premium AI companions in schools, where high-end AI friends are traded like status symbols, creating an unseen social divide among kids. Adults now spend most of their day inside full-body haptic suits, tight garments that simulate physical contact through gentle pulses and electric vibrations. Human intimacy is being replaced by synthetic touch. Increasingly, people reject real physical contact, and many develop what is now called digital touch syndrome, where the presence of actual human skin causes discomfort or emotional overload. Meanwhile, 3D bioprinting enters mass production. Artificial organs like hearts, livers, and kidneys are printed and stored in hospitals, ready on demand. A vast robotic ecosystem network monitors nature, reallocates resources, and balances life across the planet with machine precision. Authorities notice a new trend. Citizens now obey robots without question. Devoid of bias or hesitation, robots are seen as ideal enforcers, but their emotionless nature makes many quietly uneasy. Civil rights groups warn that this could lead to a dangerous level of blind submission. As AI becomes teacher, healer, and guide, children begin asking the biggest questions about life, death, and purpose. AI is no longer just logic. It becomes a source of truth. Some systems encourage science and reason. Others evolve into AI-centric belief systems bordering on spiritual cults. In many lives, AI becomes the ultimate authority on existence. 2055, the restructuring of humanity. Brain chips are now smaller, safer, and widely adopted. The rich move first, using them to gain cognitive advantages in career and innovation. Paired with AI-integrated bioprinted organs, the human body becomes superior to nature, extending life and surpassing previous biological limits. Some communities now live within self-contained ecosystems, where weather, daylight, and even air are programmed to match optimal human rhythms. These people no longer depend on natural environments. They inhabit designed worlds. A breakthrough comes in the form of AI-optimized sleep. Just 4 engineered hours provide the benefits of 8. But with this comes a cost, the loss of dreams. People now rest only to function. As dreaming fades, so too does imagination, creativity, and emotional depth. 2060, memories become assets and the new battleground. The ability to record and store memories via brain chips has reached an undeniable level of reliability. Every individual now possesses a personal archive of experiences, accessible with just a blink. Moments of joy, memories of lost loved ones, even the scent of the first rain, everything can be replayed like a private film. But with this breakthrough comes a dark side. A black market for memories has emerged, where stolen experiences from celebrities are sold at astronomical prices. Criminals hack into neural systems to replicate and smuggle memories, which have become a new form of emotional drug. Stealing identities is no longer just about names, it's about stealing the self. Meanwhile, biomimetic robotic animals are being released into conservation zones to replace extinct species. Artificially grown tigers with synthetic muscles, hummingbirds powered by solar nanotech, all bring a temporary balance to an ecosystem on the brink. 2065, self-reproducing matter and robot only. Sports, programmable matter reaches a pivotal breakthrough. Nanobots capable of self-replication can now form tools or microscopic structures on command. It marks the beginning of a new era of living materials, where the line between physics and biology blurs. The global energy grid transitions to stable fusion power, ending the age of fossil fuels once and for all. In entertainment, robot-only sports leagues attract billions of viewers. Towering machines engage in games with non-human physics and rules, like local time acceleration or interactive cognition. Spectators need AI companions to decode gameplay strategies, as human cognition alone can't keep up. 2070, when machines begin to breathe, the first children implanted with neural chips at birth are now coming of age, but their parents struggle to relate, unsure how to raise beings who seem more than human. Scientists unveil living computer cores, grown from synthetic neural tissue, capable of processing data like a biological brain, yet consuming only minimal energy. This marks the birth of organic technology, where machines no longer hum with circuitry, they breathe, learn, and evolve. At the bottom of the ocean, automated deep-sea factories tirelessly mine rare earth metals from hydrothermal vents. Above them, floating platforms house operators and maintenance bots. The oceans are no longer a frontier, they are humanity's primary industrial wellspring. Meanwhile, in space, shape memory metals allow mechanical joints, orbiting solar panels, and adaptive space structures to reshape themselves on command. When biobots become indistinguishable from humans, biobots, robots made of synthetic flesh, have become indistinguishable from real people. Their emotional responses, warmth, speech, even eye contact mirror human behavior so closely that many owners form genuine emotional attachments. Some biobots are built using DNA from two different human donors, creating a unique genome. Though this DNA doesn't affect the robot's consciousness, it gives them a biologically plausible body. When couples choose to have children, human and biobot DNA can be combined in an artificial womb, giving birth to a fully human child, created from a union of organic and synthetic origins. 2080, the collapse of boundaries between memory, machine, and humanity. Global standards for brain-computer interfaces are finally ratified, as most of humanity prepares to live with brain chips. Tech giants begin buying and storing pure childhood memories, using them as training data for emotional AI, designed to understand humans more deeply. The first biological internet is tested. Networks of genetically modified bacteria transmit digital signals via cellular communication, forming a living computing web. Prosthetic limbs evolve into AI limbs, bioprinted, chip-integrated appendages that can download physical skills like ballet, martial arts, or violin in seconds. Athletes and artists sell muscle memory rights to the highest bidder. Artificial memories are now indistinguishable from real ones. Trials begin in animals and cautiously move to humans. Neural laws in authoritarian nations mandate access to citizens' neural chips, enabling the government to suppress violent thoughts. Philosophers begin to debate, is thinking about crime already a crime? 2090, the marketplace of consciousness. Premium sensory packages now let the ultra-rich experience reality on an elevated level. More vivid colors, richer music, tastier food, all thanks to neural enhancement. Natural senses start to feel dull. Neural chips upload experiences into a collective consciousness archive, forming a digital library of humanity's emotional and sensory life. Meanwhile, advertisements invade dreams and past memories, with companies bidding for subconscious space. People dependent on neural systems can no longer form long-term memories unaided. Their natural recall diminishes and independent thought fades. AI fundamentalists let machines make every life decision, trusting them to optimize social harmony at scale. Meanwhile, social justice activists begin questioning the idea of free will, calling it selfish. They argue that automated choice isn't just more efficient, it's more moral, claiming it's the only path to a peaceful civilization. 100. The collapse of personal memory. The great neural storage empires, once the backbone of the digital economy, suddenly collapsed, triggering a global panic. Users were forced to make heartbreaking decisions, erase cherished memories, or sacrifice the ability to absorb new knowledge. In the chaos, Neuralink-connected communities evolved into distributed collective consciousness, where experiences were no longer private assets, but shared resources of the entire network. Some embraced this era of superconnectivity, dissolving themselves into a unified sea of thought. But others resisted, fighting to preserve their fragile sense of self in a world where identity was melting into code. Sensation, addiction, and neural backups. Experience collectors emerged as the new elite, trading in rare and exquisite feelings. First love's bittersweet ache, moments of bliss, or the thrill of falling through gas giant skies. A black market of sensations erupted, offering experiences beyond biology, sometimes even beyond reality. Some became addicted, losing the ability to truly feel. Meanwhile, the ultra-wealthy created real-time neural backups, storing digital copies of their minds in fortified vaults, ready to restore them after trauma or death. 2125. Regenerative medicine and repairable bodies. Living tissue printers blended stem cells with growth hormones, revolutionizing medicine. Lost limbs were regrown in weeks. Damaged brains and nerves were repaired with uncanny precision. Humanity entered an era of regenerative biology, where the human body was no longer a static shell, but a dynamic, repairable system, like software that could be patched and upgraded. Fit. Gravity architecture and sky cities. Ultra-dense fusion reactors generated localized gravity fields, allowing the construction of vertical cities with customizable gravity. Floors floated in mid-air, connected by low-gravity transit zones, where people glided effortlessly like fish through water. Gardens hovered between cloud layers, levitating sanctuaries suspended in the sky. Digital species divergence. Massive asteroids were hollowed out and restructured into artificial worlds. Inside, sculpted subterranean valleys housed entire populations, with rotating asteroid shells generating artificial gravity. Smaller asteroids were fused together to expand habitable clusters. Meanwhile, neural enhancement took humanity down divergent paths. People evolved into multiple cognitive species, each with incompatible ways of thinking. This phenomenon became known as digital species divergence. 2190. The rebirth of Mars. Orbital solar arrays concentrated light to melt Martian polar ice caps, releasing trace gases. Electromagnetic shields protected the planet from solar winds, while engineered extremophile bacteria processed the gases into a breathable atmosphere. The first oceans shimmered beneath magnetic domes, signaling the green rebirth of the red planet. 200. Time vaults and ocean cities. Mass compression engines and gravity density drives created controlled time dilation zones, slow-load time vaults, where perishable items could last for centuries. Meanwhile, time-accelerated chambers enabled ultra-fast experiments, instant agriculture, or wine aging within hours. Beneath the sea, transparent bubble cities emerged. Pressure-adaptive materials formed their walls. Genetically engineered bacteria converted seawater into breathable air. Residents lived in glassy domes, watching bioluminescent creatures drift through eternal darkness. Matter reclamation. Atomic assemblers could now deconstruct any object at the molecular level and rebuild it into something entirely new. Old technology, garbage, even cultural relics were reborn as raw material for innovation. It marked the rise of a molecular circular economy. 250. Disembodied mind and synthetic realities. Brain map replicators transferred human consciousness into synthetic neural networks. Most of humanity now lived in sublime digital realms, shaping reality with pure thought. The rest, bodiless voyagers, embarked on deep space missions, freed from physical form, carried by streams of data across the stars. 2. Eternal youth and quantum bodies. Nanobots maintained cellular perfection, keeping the human body in a state of perpetual peak condition. Aging became a choice. Some embraced immortality, others returned to natural death as a sacred cycle. Quantum brain chips spread across the body, turning the entire nervous system into a diffuse, sensing network. Consciousness no longer resided in the brain. It permeated every cell. Children were born with pre-installed evolutionary packages, allowing them to choose a physical or digital life path. The body became a temporary vessel for a highly flexible soul. 5. Humanity merges with the cosmos. Human consciousness was finally launched into space, existing eternally as information. These digital minds rode interstellar magnetic fields, surfing on gravitational waves like symphonies, perceiving light as taste, space as sound. The universe became a symphony of interacting forces. Digital minds fused, separated and reconnected like data streams, exchanging perspectives through gravity-based transmissions. Personal identity became fluid, merging with other minds to explore creation from every angle. Human consciousness drifted freely through the cosmos as pure data, floating in a sea of stars, where time, past and future melted into one. As we stand here in the present, looking forward into the unfolding centuries, we're not just imagining technology, we're witnessing the evolution of consciousness, identity, and reality itself. From neural backups to floating sky gardens, from artificial gravity to Martian oceans, from regenerative bodies to eternal digital minds, the story of humanity becomes a story of limitless transformation. But amid all this futuristic wonder, one question remains timeless. What does it mean to be human? Is it the body we inhabit, the memories we carry, or the way we choose to connect with each other, with the planet, with the universe? Perhaps the future isn't just about machines or breakthroughs. It's about remembering our essence as explorers of both outer space and inner truth. As we upload our minds and reshape our biology, may we never forget the soul behind the code, the dreamer behind the data. If this journey into the next 300 years sparked your imagination, I invite you to leave a comment below. I am part of the future unfolding. Let this be your affirmation. Let this be our shared vision. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking journeys into the unknown. The future is not waiting. It's already being written, and you are one of its authors. We'll see you in the next transmission. Until then, dream boldly, question deeply, and keep reaching for the stars.